If you enjoy these episodes, it takes me a long time to edit and produce them, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys could hit that like button to show your support, subscribe if you are new, and hit that notification button so you stay up to date with all the new episodes, and comment down below which player would you like to see next. I won't keep you waiting. Without further ado, here's the complete collection of Steve Nash's greatest stories.
A lot of people don't know Steve is cool as fuck.
Yeah, and that helped with the team chemistry.
He carved and revolutionized the way a point guard plays the game.
My eyes, like right there, I was like, okay, like now I run through a brick wall or anybody trying to mess with Steve, they're gonna have to see me.
You know, my rookie year, we played you guys. First time we played you guys, and I've seen the passion. Like Steve Nash just won 2, MVPs in a row. And your team was one of the best in the league. First game, he took a charge and just got up screaming, pumping his chest. I'm like, man, this guy really won it.
I'll say it because I believe it. I think Steve Nash is the best passing point guard that I've seen.
He had some phenomenal years, and just a testament to his hard work.
He had eyes in the back of his head.
The passes, the shooting, just very, very basketball savant.
Just told himself he's gonna do what he does, and the results speak for themselves.
He's giving back to the game as much as he changed the game when he was playing.
I don't have time here to describe Steve and how good Steve Nash was, man. I mean, in such a short interview, that's not possible. I need maybe like 2 or 3 days.
Because you played against each other many times. Chris, what do you remember about the first time you played against Steve?
The first time?
Yeah.
He probably don't remember, but I remember. I couldn't sleep the night before the game.
Such a really?
I'm dead serious.
Really?
Not on that type stuff. Relax. Not on that type. But it was just like this was like the pinnacle of point guards. You know what I mean? So for me, I remember we played in Baton Rouge because the hurricane had hit. We played in Baton Rouge. I was in New Orleans at the time. And I couldn't sleep the night before the game because, I just wanted to kill him. Because he was, how you measure yourself. And I just remember.
True.
Man, 2-time MVP, you know what I mean? Like, I'm coming in, I was in college, and my college coach used to give me, little DVDs of Steve playing in the pick and roll and all that stuff like that. So
really?
Now I'm in the NBA, and it's like, I got to see what all of this is about.
I knew it, just like I knew it with Jason Kidd. I think Eric Snow should be a head coach. But I knew it with Steve Nash. I knew it because he has so much to offer to our sport because he's excellent. He's a great person. I never had the luxury of being around him a lot, but just hearing stories from other guys.
Everybody fuck with him.
Yes.
Everybody.
And off the court, Steve was one of the homies, man. Steve go out to the clubs with us. We've been to clubs. We go to the, to the vibe clubs. You feel what I'm saying? We're like, hold on. Man, Steve, what you doing in here, man?
Steve is comfortable in there.
Yeah.
Steve, a lot of people don't know Steve is cool as fuck.
Yeah, and that helped with the team chemistry too, man. Like we saw Steve in the spots where we hung out at, and he came and hung out with us and kicked it with us for a little bit. And then the next day on the court, we like, man, listen, we got even a better, stronger bond now. So it became more of a family atmosphere.
It's a recipe for greatness.
It's gonna be great for Kari. It's gonna be fun to learn from Steve, play with KD.
Steve gave me the most problems. Steve was just a headache because he could do it all.
Like you talk about dropping the player off in today's game, like if he played where point guards could shoot first and shoot threes and do that, man, Steve could average 30.
The way I would have played today would be so different from the way I played. I grew up playing the game where people told you, as a point guard, go 5 for 7, 7 for 10, and get all your teammates involved, loving the game, feeling empowered. That's the way I approached the game. So I got more aggressive in the fourth quarter because I'm trying to win the game, but I didn't come out like guns blazing, try to, get 20 in the first half because I didn't think that would do my team any favors. Now we know numerically, it just makes way too much sense.
Stevie was that he shot the ball that great. Like I promise, me and my friends, we talk about it from time to time. And I say it's never really a time where when Stevie shot the ball, I always felt like it was going in. Like he shot that well. Like even though he didn't shoot a lot, like whenever you watch Stevie shoot, Stevie could shoot the hell out of the ball.
I think I was too conservative shooting the ball. Like I should have walked into way more threes. I should have looked for more threes. If it was today, would have, no question. But at that time, it was, taking bad threes was kind of like a cardinal sin. Now it's like, you know, I think it's gone too far. We take too many bad threes. I'm all for take a lot of threes, but I think those open mid-range shots are what give you better quality threes.
His numbers were always high and efficient, you know what I'm saying? Percentages and all of that. Like, he could score if he wanted to. He just was selfless. He wanted to pass the ball, and he enjoyed getting everybody involved. That was his special move.
People who don't know, who haven't ran across you, you're not that big, and you were playing against the Giants your whole career and doing a great job at it. So talk to us about your mental, physical preparation to have that kind of longevity.
He was just crafty. He had to be crafty.
Crafty. That's another word for white. I was hella white too, but
without being fast.
Didn't have the John Stockton move. You know what I mean? Just smart, right here, just
smart.
You know what I mean? Just know how to get it done. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Steve was excellent, man.
About 3 weeks into my first season, I got to play for Danny Ainge. Man, that was fun. That was fun. He taught us to have no fear, and he certainly didn't, because he played me, Jason, Kevin Johnson, and Rex Chapman at the same time. I remember playing one-on-one. Danny had recently retired, and we'd be playing one-on-one almost every day before practice. And we're battling, and he looks up at the clock and he's like, "What time is it?" It's 7 minutes after when practice should have started. He goes, yells down the other end of the court, "Where is everybody?" Someone goes, "I don't know." He turns, throws me the ball, and goes, "Check ball." We kept playing. It's fun. It's fun to beat your coach one-on-one. You can't say anything, so, and I think it got me some playing time though.
Hey, nobody. A lot of people don't know, Steve, that you was my vet for a couple weeks until I got cut.
He said a couple weeks.
You know what though?
I got drafted by the Suns, man. I got drafted by the Suns.
I remember.
But you know what? It feels like way more than a couple weeks, because weren't we there like all summer?
Yes, we were working out there all summer. Yeah.
So like we might have only spent like 2 or 3 weeks as teammates, but we were worked out all summer together, and man, that was fun. We had a great time, and getting to know you and being two younger guys trying to make a name for ourselves. Spending that summer working out with you is something I'll never forget.
Hey, but I tell people this all the time, Steve, and I said it on this show before, and it's something that you told me my rookie year. I don't know if you remember this, and it helped me not only today in life, but it helped me get through basketball, through my career, and even when I have such situations that I'm going through, I think about this. You told me, "Hey, Jack, whatever you do, don't worry about just keeping it real. Also keep it right." You told me that my rookie year before I even got a chance to set foot in the league, and I remember that to this day, bro. And I thank you for giving me that game, because I held on that all this time through everything I've been through.
I'm glad I gave you something. You only lasted 2 weeks, but somehow you came back around and had a hell of a career.
That's funny.
Man, thanks.
Hey, you mentioned hella white earlier, but I think you got your black card the one time you were up on stage and Nicki Minaj gave you that lap dance at her concert. What was that like?
That was a unique experience, to say the least. I'm gonna say I enjoyed it. I'm also gonna say it was.
I would have too.
Sort of unfulfilling though.
a little bit of a tease, huh? Oh hell yeah! Oh, that's funny.
What could you guys have developed into had you played together longer? Because it was a lethal combination.
Nash blows by Anderson. Oh, what a wraparound to Dirk!
I mean, it would have been fun for sure. I mean, one, you being there and we've been friends our whole life.
Yep.
2, you were my best friend in the league and my best friend at the time, because we were, there together. So just socially, it would have been awesome. Dirk and I came there as like guys that people were really unsure about.
Yeah.
I was traded there. The day I came for my press conference after the draft, Dirk came too for his. He was the first pick, whatever. I can't remember. He was like picks like 7, 8, 9 or whatever it was. And so we did our press conference together.
I think that kind of was a little lucky on draft night when they got both of us at the same time.
Didn't both of y'all have like blonde hair or something like that?
Dirk is blonde. Yeah. But I had...
Well, you had blonde hair, okay.
So my brother and I, that summer, I was still in Phoenix, like bleached our hair completely blonde, like being idiots. And so, of course, by the time, like a month or two later, the press conference, I was halfway back to normal, and I had like frosted tips. But I didn't go and like frost my tips. I just didn't like...
Little insane.
Yeah, exactly. So I was at one point like totally blonde, and then I went to the press conference looking like an idiot.
I thought he was a weirdo, you know, with bad hair, but we started hanging out. He took me out a little bit, and I could just see, you know, this is a guy that's going to help me out a lot, not only on the court, but off the court. And so I ended up taking an apartment in the same apartment complex where he was living. And that ended up for me being the best thing ever. I was a little homesick every now and then, miss Germany, miss my family, but he called me, hey, come meet my friends. My crazy Canadian friends are in town. They want to take you out. I appreciated him a lot for what he did for me early, and for a long, long time, he was my best friend.
The Mavs were like, we need him, let's get him over here, let's get him assimilated and develop him, whereas from his perspective, it was like, hold on, I just broke onto the scene. Like I want my mom's cooking. I want to play for my local team. And so they're like, recruit him. So like I try to like encourage him. I mean, more so like you have a friend here.
I have a friend, his name is Simon. He is so nice and we all love him. Love him. We have been friends for about 8 years. I had a few laughs, about 9,000 beers. Your turn.
You know, we both came to a new city. We both lived in the same apartment complex, and we hung out. You know, we didn't really know anyone else, so we became friends. I don't know if he could be a hockey player. I'm pretty much an all-rounder. I mean, I can pretty much play hockey to soccer or whatever, tennis. Just let me know, give me the stick, and I'll play hockey pretty much. What did you say? Not much. Not much. He's a good tennis player. Excellent tennis player. Let's leave it at that. Steve was huge for my development, really. You know, trying to give me confidence even after bad games, trying to talk to me and helping me off the court.
We can't all have beautiful hair like Dirk.
Take me out of the hotel, and so I'm not being homesick all the time.
That shot, that was terrible.
Right. I'm going through this too. I'm just moving here. If you come here, I'll be here to help you like learn the culture and the league, and so in a sense, I don't want to like make in any sense like this to sound, you know what I mean. Right. I was like a big brother in a sense, like by you know like, but I was still like trying to figure it out myself. They brought in a new point guard. They gave him a nice contract, and he wasn't producing. You know, the fans, they were disappointed. They booed him in our own gym every time he touched it, and I remember sitting on the floor. I was like, "Wow, this is pretty messed up."
This is embarrassing. Fans are booing.
Every time he touched the ball in his home jersey in Dallas, he was getting booed, and it really bothered him a lot.
It was tougher as a friend than as a teammate because I know the injuries that he was trying to play through. I just felt bad when the crowd was booing him because they didn't know the whole story. They just saw a guy come from Phoenix, get a lot of money, and who wasn't producing to what his contract was saying. There was a lot of frustrations, I think, on both sides. But, you know, sometimes you have to go to rock bottom, you know, to push through and believe in yourself. I just knew that that day would come when those same fans that was booing him would be cheering for him. We remember him now as like this, like not only a great player, but like a killer at the end of games. Right. Like, you know, like closer, right? That wasn't his personality at first. He had to overcome with a lot of hard work and like
you know, he grew into that. Like when he first came here, he'd be like he'd say stuff, and I know he's exaggerating, but he'd be like, "What are we doing here?" Like, you know, like a couple of white stiffs, like we're gonna get our ass kicked. You know what I mean? And I'd have to be like, dude, like just you're good. Like, just stay with it. And I know some of it was just him, like you know, like he's a long way from home and all this stuff. But he literally went from that kind of mindset to like, give me the ball. Don't worry, it's over. Right? like legit against anybody, right?
Yeah.
So like,
no matter who going.
Right. What do you think would have happened if I had to re-sign with the Mavs? 2004.
See, I'm not sure whatever would have happened. I mean, obviously people ask me that sometimes and you think about it a little bit, but you know, some people say, hey, look, it was good for our careers to be apart, to grow without each other. I'm not sure. It would have been a hell of a time, though. I know that.
I mean, on the one hand, like, I feel like we would have gone on and won a championship because you did it without me. And I think at least in one of those 2 years I could have helped. And so part of me is like, yeah, we both grew in different ways and better ways because we were apart. But part of me thinks like we would have won for sure. It's weird to think about. When it all, like, you know, shook down, obviously he found his position and became what he became. But, you know, from the start, it was like, you know, two young guys just trying to make it and pushing each other and going to the gym twice a day. Right? Like we lived in the same apartment complex, you know, two single guys, like going to gym in the morning with like the team, you know, like you go and like maybe a little bit of like in the off season, you go and like, you hit the strength coach a little bit, then you get on the court, then you play pickup. You know, still kind of, you know. But then we would come back at night and play one-on-one, horse, and like push each other, like whatever, maybe conditioning, whatever. Like that was the like the foundation, I think, of like our relationship, but also our growth. Right? We needed that. We needed to go back,
push each other,
push, and like not just to believe deeper, but to also get better. Dirk and I joining the worst team in the league. We're barely NBA players. We pushed each other. I can't remember how many times Dirk and I went back to the gym every night, one-on-one, horse, conditioning, pushing each other. Many times I had to convince him how good he was. But together with Mike, leading us, teaching us, allowing us to surpass him at some point. It was an incredible time in my life. I'm forever grateful. I remember watching film one night with Nelly after we lost. We had the whole team in there. Actually, we won this game, but Nelly was pissed. And he was telling us, showing us how we laid an egg. You know, and Dirk and I were just starting to become good NBA players. But I had to continually convince Dirk that. I think he still thought like, no, I don't know that we can make it in this league. And so Nelly's showing the fourth quarter, and we're cutting corners, not moving the ball, lazy. And late in the game, I beat my man, got in the lane and scored. And Nelly goes, well, sometimes talent wins. Dirk looks at me and goes, talent? I mean, it was funny, but it kind of pissed me off.
I always thought that if that team was together for an extended period of time, that we would at least have one championship in Dallas.
I always think sometimes what could have been if Steve would have stayed here. Unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. You know, yeah, the Spurs are always great, but I think there were a couple years there that it would have been up for the grabs, and we would have been right there.
And who knows, maybe we would have won multiple, right? Like, who knows what pieces and what happens.
But the night that me and Steve Nash were set to sign, like after you know how you have that waiting period after you agree to terms, it's like a week or so, and then you get to sign. So we there, it's like midnight. We get there before midnight because at midnight you can sign and everything. So we in the office is David Griffin and Rex Chapman and our assistant GMs. And Brian Colangelo was the GM.
Mm-hmm.
So we in there waiting, and it's kind of, we looking at Sports Center and the office and everything. It's starting to take a little long, and we like, man, what's going on? And so, the salary cap was projected to be one thing, but when they actually released it, it came in lower than what it was projected. So that meant that one of us had to take less money on our contract. Now, me and Steve in there, we sitting in there chilling, we waiting, and then it's like, man, what's going on? It's taking a long time. So then Rex comes in and they kind of start explaining it to us, and then everybody's sitting there, and no lie, this is how great of a person Steve is. Like, he, no second guessing, no thought. He was like, once we all figured out what was going on, he was like, if that's what's going on, man, just like me and just take it off mine and put it on cues. And I turned and looked at him like, I didn't, like, at this point, I don't know Steve like that personally. I know him from competing on the court and, being cool in that way, but I don't even really know him past that at all. So it was like, for him to do something like that, I wish I really remembered how much money it was. It wasn't like a lot of millions, but it was definitely over $1 million. And for him to do something like that, just without even thought, like that right there set the tone for how selfless he was in my eyes. Like right there, I was real, okay, like now I run through a brick wall, or anybody trying to mess with Steve, they're gonna have to see me. So it was like right there, just set the tone of how he would be, the whole season long right there.
My rookie year, we played you guys. First time we played you guys, and I seen the passion. Like, I'm like, Steve Nash just won 2, MVPs in a row. Their team was one of the best in the league. First game, he took a charge and just got up, screaming, pumping your chest. I'm like, man, this guy really won it, and that's, coming from, where you come from, and people, slighted you for so long, you could just tell that you was letting it out. Like, I'm here now. I can tell. And that, as an 18-year-old, that spoke volumes to me, because I'm like, damn, if he can do that, where I come from, where, basketball is like everything, So I felt that I had to push myself even harder after seeing stuff like that.
That's cool.
What was it like building chemistry with Steve on the court? On and off the floor, excuse me.
Yeah, on the court, man, it was easy, bro. I mean, it was an easy deal for us because Nash and I, it happened organically. You know what I'm saying? Nash was a pass-first point guard, and I was a player who wanted to set the tone and try to dominate every chance I got. You know what I'm saying? So anytime Nash dropped the ball off to me, I'm catching flight in flight range. You feel what I'm saying? And so, and I'm attacking the rim. So it wasn't like I'm going in there and trying to draw fouls or shoot floaters and lay the ball up.
Nah, you wasn't doing
that.
You know
what I'm saying? I'm attacking the rim. And so every time Nash drop him off, it's like an easy combination between him and I. And so when you got that type of combination going, and then teams got to respect that, and you surround that with some shooters and a few playmakers, you got a great formula.
Well, that leads me to my next question. How fun was it once everybody vibed? Obviously, your and Steve's was effortless and most important, but like you said, you got, Sean Marion, Joe Johnson, Quentin Richardson, Barbosa. You guys got a real squad. Whenever we played y'all, we knew we were in for a motherfucking track meet war. But what was it? How fun was it playing with that group of guys?
Yeah, for sure. Every time we played y'all in Golden State, boy, we had to make sure we strap up. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be hot.
I did give you a 30-point triple-double. I should.
But they tried to put us on him.
We all had to guard him on.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
I hated that shit.
Worst, bro.
I remember this, though. So, look, this is what happened, right? They started a Donald foil, right? So some kind of thing happened on a fast break where you dunked on Donald so bad. Nelly didn't play him no more and just let me and Matt deal with you the rest of the game. Nelly didn't even play him no more, dog.
Yeah, man.
That was like, at least foul him. Donald, you the biggest guy there. At least foul him, bro.
Yeah, man.
At the end of this time.
Man, I was no mercy, bro. I was playing with no mercy, man.
Steps in front for the ball. Murphy had the ball. Stoudemire with the dunk. Shoved off with a free arm and sent it home. A 5-point game. Amari Stoudemire's gonna come into your living room.
Who's today's John Stockton?
I think as long as he's playing, Steve Nash is as close as you're going to get to what John Stockton was about. I mean, the consistency in terms of shooting the basketball. Steve is one of the game's greatest shooters of all time. John Stockton, consistently a 50% shooter, a playmaker, an assist maker, but, I mean...
I don't see that.
You don't think
I don't as much.
Because of the offensive end of the ball?
I think...
Because of the willingness to score?
I think John Stockton, to me, played free throw line in. Like, he really penetrated the basketball free throw line in, where Steve Nash plays free throw line out. He's really a three-point shooter.
Well, now you're going to go into system, though, because one guy was locked into Jerry Sloan's half-court offense where it was run selectively and advance with the pass, which is something that I think that's one of the biggest things that Steve and John share is the willingness as a point guard to advance
I agree with
on the
that.
pass and play. But their system...
But I wouldn't play if I don't know, Steve, Isaiah, if you were guarding them, my first thing would be make Nash drive. My thing with Stockton would be make him shoot from the outside. So I would think of them, I would be playing them totally different. Like, I wouldn't want Steve Nash to be a jump shooter. I would say I want to get him in the lane.
Or you'd say help if there was a pick and roll.
Oh, pick and roll.
Help.
You know, Kobe, welcome to Sports Center. Let's start with your newest teammate out there in L.A. You've got an all-star point guard now in Steve Nash. How excited are you this deal was able to get done?
Well, I'm very excited. I mean, he's, we all know what a phenomenal player he is and how talented he is. And, what he brings to the table with his shooting and his playmaking ability. So I'm excited. I mean, he's going to space the floor. I mean, he's such a phenomenal shooter. And then, his ability to make plays for others is second to none, really. And, so we'll be able to get up and down the floor and hopefully, get a lot more easier baskets than we have in the past. We won't have to grind as much as we did in the past in terms of trying to get good shots in the half court.
Well, it was a thrill to be his teammate. But, if I look back and remember Kobe, I'm going to think about the competition. And that was special for me in my career to face the ultimate competitor, one of the greatest players to ever play the game. We go way back. We were in the same draft class.
It is the 1996 NBA Draft.
Leading up to the draft, you're looking at the whole pool of players, and we start to zero in on Steve as a possibility with the 15th pick. Our first intent, to be perfectly honest, was to go after Kobe Bryant. That was the guy we had targeted.
With the 13th pick in the 1996 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Kobe Bryant from Lower Merion High School in Pennsylvania.
The fact that we came into the league together, in '96, and there's really not too many other players from that draft kind of still going. So I think kind of that bond that we've had since the '96 draft, kind of supersedes the rivalry that we had against Phoenix.
You're taught to cut baseline.
Kobe Bryant at the buzzer. Oh, he got it! Right between the eyes. Practice it. Third, Nash. Fouled, count it.
He is some player. He is some basketball player.
Nash has 10 assists over Brown. Nash from the floor tonight has shot over 70%, 8 of 11. Kobe. Oh, what a shot by Kobe Bryant. The shot clock again goes down to deep single digits at 2. Kobe.
Come on. That is way too good. I mean, you can't guard that. As a coach, all you're saying is if one of these misses, the game is over. That goes in, you have to make 2 free throws, and then this goes in. If that shot misses, you rebound, and the game is over. And Nash needs to make both of these.
They have answered that as well. 22 of 26 for the game.
And as the story goes, we played our whole careers in the West. We played each other 3 times in the playoffs, had some epic battles. Weren't always friends. We're lucky to be teammates. Probably hated each other at times, but through it all had a tremendous amount of respect for each other. And I remember after we beat him in, I think, '06 in the playoffs, we were at a Nike shoot together, and he came to me and he said, "How do you trust your teammates?" And I thought, inside, I thought, first of all, that's a sign of respect. And I thought to myself, with a smile, well, I have to trust my teammates because I ain't anywhere near the player you are. So for me, I need the whole pie. You can decide it's time and decide the game. But when I walked away from the conversation, I have to admit, was he Jedi mind tricking me? Or was he telling me, just so we're clear on the ledger, you had a better team?
Right.
I love this about Kobe Bryant. I love this about Kobe Bryant. You know, when I got to play with Kobe for, you know, a few, you know, we both got hurt, but having to share the locker room with him at the end of our career, it was an eye-opener in a sense, because you forget we got drafted together, we played against each other our whole careers. You know, I thought of him as a competitor. I thought of him as the competition, you know, predominantly. So when I came to the Lakers and you could see the worship that young players had for him, you know, it was an eye-opener because I never had that perspective of him. But that's exactly how I was with Jordan.
Steve, let me ask you first of all, what the hell is going on with your eye? Let me see that eye.
It's getting better.
When you saw him, Grant, leave the floor, and you think about your chances in the playoffs are so short, and now you see him go into the locker room with one eye closed. What went through your mind?
Well, I was thinking back, I guess, 3 years ago, watching on television, the Suns and Spurs game 1 and Steve getting cut on the nose and not being able to get back in the game. And especially when San Antonio went on that 11-0 run when Steve went out the other day in game 4. So I was certainly a little worried. You know, and I kept saying, what's taking him so long, you know? But thankfully he did come back and played great.
So I knew you Canadians were crazy from looking at that eye. And
maybe you should play with a patch. He played pretty good with one eye.
Lucky.
Both of y'all are liars, man. Shouldn't have won one? What are y'all, wild?
Over Kobe? Should not have won the...
Hell yeah, over Kobe.
The Kobe one, yeah, sorry.
Kobe?
Kobe.
We giving MVPs to 7 seeds now? 8 seeds? That's what we doing?
Steve Nash was an 8 seed almost his whole career.
Not when he won MVPs?
He never won a championship. Has he been? How many times has he been in the finals?
The MVP ain't giving you...
How many times has Steve been in the finals?
Who cares?
No, I'm just asking you.
You know the
I'm just asking you.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah.
Never.
So? That don't mean nothing.
You're not no MVP. You're a good point guard.
Rayford Alston played in the finals. Didn't that make him MVP?
But come on now.
I'm just saying.
They gave Steve 2 MVPs.
They didn't give him. He won 2 MVPs. What? They didn't give him. He won that because they put him out there with 4 dudes.
So you telling me Steve Nash was the best in the NBA 2 years in a row?
Yes. 100%.
First of all, shout out producer Danny and producer Steve, who knew that actually running that sound would be a good idea. Producer Mahmood, who put all of those very important leaps over you. This was during one of the commercial breaks yesterday, during our show, debate over whether Nash deserved his second MVP in '06 over Kobe. Do any of you have any follow-up thoughts before we move on?
I love Steve Nash. Like I told you, know how I feel. Steve Nash is my guy. He was my vet when I got drafted. I love Steve Nash. But I just don't feel he was the best in the league those 2 years. That's just what it is. I mean, I'm happy he got him. I'm proud of him, but I just feel like Kobe should have got it.
I think what people miss is because he didn't average 35 a game, that means he wasn't best in the league. Steve Nash showed everybody that basketball, there's more to it than just getting buckets. And when you look at what the team did when he played versus when he didn't play, we were the best team in the league when he played, and when we didn't play, we were a lottery team. If that ain't most valuable, I don't know what is.
Don't you think part of the complication here, too, is that it's not specifically, did Steve deserve 2 MVPs, but people feeling like Kobe deserved more than 1 in his career? And the idea that Kobe Bryant is only a one-time MVP, something had to be wrong, and one of those had to be his.
That's not Steve's fault.
That's not Steve's fault, but she makes a lot of sense.
But we can't sit here and start to count how many MVPs everybody got. Like, he should have had more MVPs. Shaq only got 1 MVP. You think Shaq's a one-time MVP?
Steve probably stole one from Shaq.
Come on, man.
Nash beat me out twice for MVP. I still don't know how.
How about Allen?
AI, yeah, ooh.
Hey, Shaq, do you need to get on the couch now, too?
Actually, I do.
Guys, get up for a second. Hold on.
Man, put an extender on here. Put the extender on there. All right, the extender on there, Brad.
Dr. O'Neill.
Do you want me to hold the seat?
Don't touch the thumbs.
What seems to be your overriding concern today? What is your issue? What would you like to get off your chest?
It was this little good-looking David Beckham little guy running around like a gnat, just passing the ball to people and doing this and doing that. He scored every now and then, but he would always beat me out in the MVP voting. And I'm averaging 28-15 without the free throws.
Do you not?
And I'm going to the finals every year.
Do you not feel that Steve Nash deserved the award at all? There's not a part of you that says, yes, Steve Nash deserved the award for the following reasons.
Maybe once, but not twice over the easel. Twice, 2 times in a row. He got 2, I got 1, Kobe got 1. Something wrong with that picture. Whatever camera you're using, throw it away. Get a new camera.
And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy, please leave a like to show your support, subscribe if you are new and hit that notification button, comment down below which player you would like to see in the next episode, and I'll catch you guys there. I'm out. Peace.